Right, let's talk about the elephant in the room, or rather, the elephant that politicians keep trying to sneak out of the room while we're distracted by, I don't know, whatever shiny object they're waving about this week. Election 2025 is coming up, and you know what that means? Yeah, more leaflets through your door than you can shake a stick at, but also the inevitable resurfacing of a familiar and frankly terrifying phrase, social security cuts. Now, I know what you're thinking. Not this again. You'd be right to feel that way. It feels like every other election cycle, someone decides it's time to dust off this old chestnut and see if the public will finally swallow it. Spoiler alert, we never do, and with good reason. But just because it's a tired old song and dance doesn't mean we should ignore it. Because this time, folks, it's not just about numbers on a spreadsheet, it's about real people's lives. It's about dignity, security, and the fundamental promise of a society that takes care of its own. And that, my friends, is something worth fighting for. Let's get one thing straight. Social Security isn't some government handout, some cushy perk for the idle. It's a safety net, a lifeline, built on the simple principle that after a lifetime of working and contributing, you deserve to live out your days with a roof over your head and food on the table. Seems pretty reasonable, right? For millions of people, Social Security is more than just a monthly payment. It's the difference between making ends meet and falling into poverty. It's the peace of mind that comes with knowing you can afford your medication, your rent, your basic needs. It's the foundation upon which people build their lives, their hopes, their dreams for the future. And it's not just about retirees either. Social Security provides vital support for disabled individuals, surviving spouses, and children who have lost a parent. It's a lifeline for those who need it most, a testament to the idea that we're all in this together, that we have a collective responsibility to care for one another. This isn't the first time we've danced this dance, is it? The threat of Social Security cuts has loomed large before, and the results were, shall we say, less than ideal. Remember that time they tried to raise the retirement age? Or that other time they proposed cutting benefits for higher earners? Yeah, good times. Every time these proposals rear their ugly heads, it's the same story. Panic sets in. People's carefully laid plans are thrown into disarray, and the most vulnerable among us are left to bear the brunt of the burden. Is that really the kind of society we want to live in? One where we balance the budget on the backs of pensioners and the most vulnerable? Let's be clear. These cuts don't just impact individuals, they ripple outwards, affecting families, communities, and the economy as a whole. Reduced spending power, increased poverty, a generation left wondering if they'll ever be able to retire. These are not the hallmarks of a thriving society, they're the symptoms of a system that's lost its way. So why is it that every few years Social Security becomes a political football kicked around with reckless abandon, its future seemingly hanging by a thread? Well, the answer, my friends, is as simple as it is cynical votes. You see, talking about cutting Social Security is a convenient way to score political points, to appeal to a certain segment of the electorate that views government spending as inherently wasteful and unnecessary. It's a way to appear fiscally responsible, to talk tough about making hard choices without actually having to, do anything. But here's the thing, Social Security isn't some abstract concept, some line item in a budget. It's people's lives. And playing political games with their futures is not just irresponsible, it's morally reprehensible. Section 5. The human cost beyond the balance sheet. Let's take a moment, shall we, to step back from the graphs and charts and the political posturing and remind ourselves what's really at stake here. We're not talking about numbers on a spreadsheet. We're talking about human beings, people like your parents, your grandparents, maybe even you someday. Imagine, if you will, a future where you're no longer able to work. You've paid your dues, contributed your fair share, and now it's time to enjoy the fruits of your labor. But instead of security and peace of mind, you're met with anxiety and uncertainty. The retirement you envisioned, the one you worked so hard for, is slipping away, replaced by a constant struggle to make ends meet. That's the reality facing millions of people if Social Security is cut. It's a reality where seniors are forced to choose between food and medicine, where families are stretched to the breaking point, where the most vulnerable among us are left behind. Is that the kind of future we want to create? Section 6. Don't be a stranger, stay informed, stay engaged. Now, I know what you're thinking. This is all very depressing, John, and you're right, it is. But it's not a lost cause, not yet. We can still fight back, we can still protect Social Security, but only if we act now. The first step, stay informed. Don't just rely on sound bites and political spin. Do your own research. Understand the issues, the proposed cuts, and the potential consequences. Knowledge is power, my friends, and the more you know, the better equipped you'll be to fight back. But don't stop there. Talk to your friends, your family, your neighbors. Spread the word, raise awareness, and make it clear that this is an issue you care about, an issue that affects us all. Section 7. Your voice, your future. Make it count. Remember, you have a voice, and more importantly, you have a vote. Use it. Contact your elected officials. Let them know that you oppose any cuts to Social Security, that you demand a future where everyone has the opportunity to retire with dignity and security. Make your voice heard. Attend town halls, write letters, organize protests. Be relentless, be vocal, and don't let them silence you. Because the future of Social Security and the well-being of millions of people depends on it. This isn't just about politics, it's about people. It's about our parents, our grandparents, ourselves. It's about the kind of society we want to live in, the kind of future we want to build. Section 8. The time to act is now. The 2025 election is just around the corner. The future of Social Security, the well-being of millions hangs in the balance. The time to act is now. Don't wait until it's too late. Make your voice heard. Stand up for what you believe in, and let's protect Social Security for generations to come. Because silence, my friends, is not an option.